So, my dear friends, welcome to the 44th class of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 5, and we have learned very, very interesting shlokas in the recent past, where Krishna says that although the yogi acts, speaks, sleeps, walks, runs, excretes, opens and closes his eyelids, he appears to be doing everything, yet the yogi or the wise sage knows that he does nothing. And then in continuation with that, we studied from shloka number 14 to 17 last time. And just to revise what we studied, in shloka number 14, Krishna says, the Lord does not create in men the consciousness of being the doers of action. So it is because of the Prakriti that we are deluded into thinking that we are these bodies and minds, and therefore we take upon the thought of doership upon us, although it is nature with its influences and the gunas and its imposition on us as the ego, since it is body identified. Therefore, it appears that we are the doer, yet it is not the absolute existence, consciousness, bliss, which causes you to believe so. In shloka number 15, Krishna says that the all-pervading does not take into account anyone's virtues or sins. And it is because, again, our wisdom is eclipsed by ignorance. And that is why we are deluded, again, deluded into thinking that I am this body and I am this mind, and therefore I am this doer. And since I am the doer, then the virtue and the sin also belong to me. Yet this is not the case. The Lord knows that you are the soul, but because of the influence of Prakriti, of Maya, of its delusion, therefore we are in this state. And that is why the Gita has come to us, the Guru has come to us to awaken us from our delusion, to remind us that we are not this body and mind, we are pure consciousness, we are pure chit, we are the pure light, we are awareness itself. And once we are able to realize this, then automatically all the sin and virtue disappears. And that's what he says in the next shloka. In shloka number 16, Krishna says, all those who have banished the ignorance by self-knowledge, by self-realization, their wisdom is like the shining sun, which makes the self obvious. And we know that the self or the spirit and the soul, they are all self-effulgent. They do not need a separate light to shine upon them to make them active or to make them appear. On the other hand, the agency of the mind, the buddhi, and the body, they need the presence of the consciousness to shed light upon them to know about their existence. It is just as the nature of the wave and the ocean. The ocean needn't have the wave. It may be still or it may be in two waves, but for its existence, it doesn't need the waves. But the wave needs the ocean for its existence. So for the body, for the mind to exist, the substratum of consciousness is essential. Although consciousness can exist on its own without these superficial things, because it is the core reality, it is the absolute truth of the entire creation. In shloka number 17, Krishna says, their thoughts, when he says their means the thought of the sage, their thoughts immersed in that spirit, their souls one with spirit, and their soul allegiance and devotion given to spirit. Their beings are purified from the poisonous delusion by the antidote of wisdom. And such men reach the state of non-return. And of course, we understand what do we mean by non-return is that they are freed from the cycle of birth and death. In the explanation of this shloka, Master brought in the aspect of the sound of Om, and he gave us 3 steps. As in the first step, we think about the sound of Om, or we contemplate upon the sound of Om. In the second step, as we advance in our meditative practice, we start to merge with Om. In the sense, we start to feel the sound of Om or the vibration of Om in our own self and in the universe, and thereby we start to merge in that sound of Om. And then finally, although this merging may be sporadic, or it may come and go, but finally, the yogi has to get himself established in Om, established in oneness. And once he is established in oneness, then he is left nothing to do. That is why he is all devoted to God. His life has no other purpose but to serve the Lord, but to be with the Lord, but to commune with the Lord. And this is the state which is desirable for all of us. We are all working so that we can reach up to this stage. Why? Because this stage promises that there will be no return thereafter, that we needn't come here again and again and again to work out all the karmas. Okay, so this brings us to shloka number 18. Shloka number 18 says, Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshina. आत्म साक्षात्कार प्राप्त ज्ञानी जन एक विद्वान एवं विनम्र ब्राह्मण गाय, हाथी, श्वान और चांडाल को समान दृष्टि से देखते हैं. Self-realized sages behold with an equal eye a learned and a humble Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and an outcast. So a variety of objects or people, humans, and animals have been mentioned here. And it is said that the sage will look with the same vision with all of these. And now, how is this possible? Now, I was reading some teachings from Swami Vivekananda. So a beautiful explanation came from there. And he says that no, there are different people will have a different kind of a vision. The simple or the basic type of people or the common man usually has a vision which is in Hindi called Deha Drishti, means the vision through the physical eye. So such a person, the person who has Deha Drishti, is only bothered about the physical appearances of the world, of people, and will only check out their physical attributes. How does this person look? Is he tall? Is he short? Is he pretty? Is he ugly? What is the color of the skin? Then what is the caste? What is the family from where he is coming? What is the country? And so forth. So only the physical attributes of this of the world will be seen by a person who has Deha Drishti, means only the physical sight. Now the next level of person comes to have Mano Drishti. So Mano Drishti, a person who sees the mind of the other person. So for example, this person is more concerned about the character, the integrity, about the attributes, about the habit patterns, and about the dealings, the behavior of the other person, which comes from the mind. And also he is aware of the intelligence that runs behind all of this. So he's an intelligent person, means even behind apparatus, he will see that it is electricity that runs these apparatus. It is, the electronic and the electrical appliances. What is the mathematics behind them? So an intelligent person generally sees one layer behind the apparent superficial appearance. So beyond that Manodrishti, now many intellectuals, in fact, I would say most of us here we use combination of Deha Drishti and Manodrishti. But then the sage goes into the next level and sees the world from the angle of Atma Drishti. So he is able to see oneness in everything. He is able to know that all is one. He is able to know that the substratum of all the physical manifestations, and under the physical, the energy manifestation, the mind and the intellectual manifestations, behind all of that is the all-pervading one continuous Atman or Brahman. And because he is able to see that oneness, therefore, even at the superficial level, even at the physical level, where most of us will see, say, a cow is a cow, a dog is a dog, and a human is a human, yet the person who has Atma Drishti says this is all one. All of this is a manifestation of one divine power. And once he is able to see that oneness, then automatically he will be able to love everybody. He will be able to be compassionate with everybody, kind with everybody, and he will not judge others, because he will know that what he is as the Atman, all others are as well. All that exists is pure Satchidananda, ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss. And because he sees everything as that one same, he also lives in bliss, because he needn't be jealous of anybody. He needn't want anything from the world. And he's able to see all the happenings of the world just as the one absolute and continuous reality. And again, this is, one of our aims as we move forward towards self-realization. This is what we want to go to, where we see the unity of all. So a little explanation from Master. Master says normal man's human consciousness it works with relativity. So for an up, there has to be a down. For a left, there is a right. For a dark, there is a light. So unless there is a relativity present, most humans are unable to see beyond this relativity. So if we want to go, now we say that, okay, we want to go into Atma Drishti, we want to see oneness, then how do we go in that direction? The simplest way is to meditate. And what meditation will do, once you close your eyes, and in some techniques you may close your ears, what this does is it prevents the data of variety entering into your system. Once you shut that down and then you focus inside and use your meditative techniques, this takes you to the state of super consciousness. And in super consciousness, everything starts to become one. So even before you can go towards Om, or even before you can go towards, Christ consciousness or cosmic consciousness, even at the level of semi-super consciousness or super consciousness, you will be able to start to feel the oneness that exists in with you and the entire universe. So once that starts to happen, the delusion starts, the hold the delusion has starts to decrease just a bit. But then it is up to us how many times we can meditate to the point where we are led into that, that feeling of, yes, or I am made of love, I am made of peace, and all of this is one. So then it becomes our duty that if in one meditation, two meditation, 10 meditation, a whole year has passed, you have been meditating, you have not been able to reach that stage, it is our duty to persist, to persevere, because this state lies just behind our human consciousness. So if you persist and if you concentrate and if you wholeheartedly give yourself and surrender to the techniques, Kriya Yoga in our case, and then you will be able to touch this level of super consciousness. Okay. So what Master says, he says, the sage rejects a superficial acceptance of the seemingly objective reality of the world and perceives all phenomena as manifestations of cosmic divine light and technicolored shadows. So all of this, as has been said multiple times, this is a play of light and shade, and it is a technicolor movie going on of which we are a part. And then the sage is able to see that all of this is nothing but light and shadow, and therefore he will not distinguish between different appearances of the same play. Now, can anybody just declare that, oh, life is a dream? It's easy to say, read in the scripture, and the scripture says life is a dream, but it appears so real to us. So how can we go to the point where we are able to say that life is a dream? So Master has given specific steps, and actually it is a little perturbing, because once you read these steps, you say, oh, I'm pretty much far behind. There's a long way for me to go in my meditative practice before I can reach here. But the truth stands bare, and it is up to us to reach up to it. So what Master says, that a person who can actually and factually say that life is a dream is a number one, who has touched super consciousness. Secondly, who has been able to enter into the astral sphere during his meditation. He is able to observe the astral universe, and even when he comes down to the body, he is able to expand the astral light within him, around himself, and at will who can see the astral universes. So once you are actually able to perceive it at will, only then can you say. So when you can move from one frequency to the other frequency, can you say that this particular frequency is a dream, or this is not a true reality? So for all of us, it is, I said, is a bit intimidating, but yes, this is the way. Now the beauty about yoga is not necessarily that everybody will have visions of the astral world, because you're not only meditating. On the one hand, you are doing devotional service. On the other hand, you're doing karma yoga. On the other hand, you're also contemplating about and inquiring into yourself. So once all these yogas are working in place, and even though you are not able to visualize those astral universes or go into varied phenomenon, even then self-realization is possible, in the sense because you will know that you are beyond the body mind. All of these phenomena and all the astral universes are also part of the mind. It's also a mental frequency. So eventually we have to go beyond all phenomena. We have to go beyond the physical, beyond the astral, and beyond the causal universes. So don't be disheartened if the experience of the astral universes and the causal universes while you are living in a physical body is needed by you, or if the guru feels that it is appropriate for you to have these experiences for whatever reasons, then he will give them to you. So we don't wait for such experiences. We do nishkam karma in meditation. We just sit, we meditate with love, and we try to concentrate, and we offer our love and devotion to God and the gurus, and the rest is up to them as to what experiences they want to give to us. Okay. So sages who have realized the absolute see everything as one. In all varied manifestation of nature, they see the underlying substratum. And therefore, they do not make distinction between one thing over another. And therefore, they have love and compassion for everybody. This brings us to shloka number 19. इहेव तर्जित सर्गो येषां साम्य स्थितं मना निर्दोषं हि समं ब्रह्म तस्मात् ब्रह्मणि ते स्थिता। जो संभाव में स्थित है, उनके द्वारा इस जगत में रहते हुए ही अस्तित्व की सापेक्षताओं, जन्म और मृत्यु, सुख और दुख को पराभूत किया जा चुका होता है। इस प्रकार वे ब्रह्म में ही स्थित हैं, निर्दोष, पूर्ण, सम ब्रह्म में। The relativities of existence, birth, death, pleasure, pain, have been overcome even here in this world by those of fixed equal-mindedness. Thereby are they enthroned in spirit, verily, the taintless, the perfectly balanced spirit. So again, a point has been brought out in this shloka, which has been brought out previously, which is talking about equanimity, equal-mindedness, even-mindedness. And the explanation to this shloka is that even when the sage is working in this world, so his body is still in the physical world, the mind is though contemplating on a higher truth, and in his soul, he has realized his oneness with spirit, but he's still continuing to live in this world because of prarabdha. He still has this body and mind. So what is his attitude as he walks around in this world is that he sees the variety of things, but he is neither attracted nor repulsed by any of this. So now imagine a day in your life when you wake up and you are not, as normally what happens as soon as you wake up, oh, my body is aching, oh, the weather is not so good today, I hope today my maid servant comes on time, I hope I have an easy day today, my boss doesn't give me so much work, oh, I will meet that person, so and so person which I don't like really, and this is going to be a long day. Now forget all of this. Now think of a day that you get up and without judging, without liking or disliking anything, you just go about with the duties with a sense of completeness in yourself. Can you imagine even 1 hour or 2 hours or 6 hours or one whole day? I think this can be a challenge for us. We can do it as a tapasya that, one day in the week, or we can try for today or the rest of my day, I will restrain my mind from liking or dislike anything. And I will just do the work which is in front of me, and I will do it smilingly, and I will keep offering this to God. So this is a kind of a tapasya, and once we start undertaking this tapasya, then the results are there because we will attain the peace that we are looking for. As long as we are caught up with rag and dvesh, likes and dislikes, till then the world has power upon us. And therefore, when there is pleasure, we will be excited. When there is pain, we will be sad. So to overcome them, we have to practice self-restraint. That means we have to keep our mind under self-control, because it is the quality of the mind to jump out with reactivity. So as we meditate, we find that our reactive processes come under control and we are starting to respond appropriately. Now, some people sometimes ask, what is the sign? How do you know that you are developing spiritually? Is easy actually. So for example, you have this habit of getting angry at certain people. You will find that as you progress spiritually, the frequency of these attacks of irritability or anger will decrease. The intensity of the hold they have on you will decrease, and you will soon immediately be able to come back to normal. So for example, if you're not a spiritual person, you have a bout of anger and you take half an hour to come back to a normal state of being. But if you're a spiritual person, you will be immediately, right after that anger has gone, means if it may be an appropriate anger, like scolding someone who needs that, but after that immediately you're back into yourself, and you know that it was a temporary transient phase which was needed at the moment. So just check in yourself how much hold the negative vices have upon you. And of course, as we see life in longer rhythms, we do find that over a period of weeks to months to years, we from vices we start to come to virtue, and eventually we offer those virtues also back to God. Okay. Now, Master says that only he who can disconnect his consciousness at will from the perception of worldly objects is free from the disturbing dualities of the senses. So a very deep meditative aspect is being touched here. He is saying you just cannot reject the world and its variety. But how will you reject it? Unless you can disconnect the current which is going out from the senses into the objects. So when you close your eyes in meditation, or you close your ears sometimes, and more than that, when you do pratyahara, means you interiorize your attention. So you are disconnecting your mind from the data which is coming from the senses. And it's only once you rest in your own self that you are away from the dualities. So you cannot beat yourself up to say, I'm not going to like anything, I'm not going to dislike anything. But what you have to do is, if you practice regular meditation, automatically there will be an inwardness to your attention, inwardness to your mind. And once you go inwards and you touch the superconsciousness, you understand the oneness of everything. And in that state, automatically the whole duality has on you will decrease. And also an important point for all of us is that not only in meditation do we focus at the point between the eyebrows or the spiritual eye. Master would say that try to live from that point. So there are so many times in your day when you're not specifically engaged. So if as much as you can, whenever you are free, with closed eyes, you must focus at the point between the eyebrows. Of course, you have to find out the practicality of it throughout your day. But even without that, now you would have noticed around you, there are people who keep looking downwards, or they keep looking upwards, or they don't even meet you at the eye. So if you have practiced meditation, you will find that even with open eyes, as you're operating in the world, you can pretty much harmonize and balance the vision between the two eyes and kind of look through the spiritual eye. This comes with practice, but the more you try, the more equanimity will come into your life. Why will it come? Because this point, the point of the spiritual eye, is the non-dual point of the body. It is Ayodhya, it is Advaita, it is the singularity. All the other chakras are working in duality, but the Agya chakra is a non-dual point. And as much as you can live through the Agya chakra, you will find that you are free from dualities. And that is why yoga is such a pure science. Nothing is vague about it. You can experiment, you can practice, you can explore, and anybody practicing these techniques anywhere around the world will come to the same result. Okay. Then Master says, those yogis who evenly perceive divine bliss in the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious states are pure and perfect like spirit. So not only does meditation help you to touch your superconscious, but it also helps to cleanse the subconscious, because all the vrittis that are stored in our subconscious mind, eventually those are also taken out. And Master says at all levels of your existence, we should become pure, and in that state, we will be free from all duality and we needn't return back here. A very important point that Master brings here, he says, without suffering, mortals would not make the effort to know that they are immortals who cannot suffer. Now, all of us who are present today, we can ask ourselves, what there would have been definitely some kind of suffering, whether it is physical or mental or emotional or financial or social, or something that drives you to think that, is this life all? Is this all that I'm going to get from life? Or is this all that life has to offer? Is my mind, my intellect, my body made only for this? So some kind of dissatisfaction, even if not pain, but some kind of sense of incompleteness, non-fulfillment and dissatisfaction from life, it is that brings you on the spiritual journey where you have so many unanswered questions, you're looking for answers. And then and of course, as soon as you start on the spiritual path, you start to meditate, peace starts to come into your life and you know that it is working. So more and more you want to go there. And that is the reason that God has created suffering, because if there was no pain, if there was no suffering, we would never ask any question. We would never want to reach out to the truth. We would never want to ascend to any higher sphere. So this is reminding me of something that Rajarsi Janakananda, Saint Lin, he said about Master. So after Yogananda ji had left his body and Rajarsi Janakananda had become the president, he would have, in his deep meditations, he would have visitations by Master, by the great gurus, and he would have visions of them. And then somebody remarked, and the message he gave to the other devotees was, so somebody was remarking that why Master is not giving us visions and we are missing him so much. And then the reply that a Master gave through Saint Lin to the other devotees was that if I come to your level, then you would not try to come to where I am. So, and that is why it is important that we know the truth. The scriptures do point to us that, this is the truth, this is the height, this is where you have to go. But then they also help us to see that we are in suffering. Till we are, seeing a better comparison, we think the life that we are living is it. And this is all that there is too, which is not the truth. And therefore, we must thank our suffering, because that suffering is that which makes us turn towards truth, which helps us to yearn for God and for self-realization. The spiritual aspirant is thus advised to conquer his emotional reactions to the inevitable dualities of the phenomenal universe and to remain like his creator in an even ecstatic state. The yogi accepts the hint given by death, and so while occupying the body, he treats it kindly but impersonally, like a total stranger. Now, this is a heavy statement. How do we treat our bodies? We think, this is me, this is mine, and this is going to stay with me forever. And I love my body so much, and I can look at the mirror and appreciate my body again and again. And I want others to think that I am this beautiful person, and so on and so forth. No. What is Master saying? He says the yogi treats his own body as a stranger. Why? Because the yogi understands this truth that he is the Atman. Atman is untouched by any physical reality, and the body is part of Prakriti. It is separate from his true existence. Prakriti is only part of existence, consciousness, bliss, and it is not his final reality. And of course, we know when we see death, we see all around us, then it should awaken us that our body is also going to die one day. And we might as well prepare ourselves for death. And so in many traditions, people will avoid talking about death. But mature people should sometimes do contemplate upon death and dying with dignity, and what will happen when they will leave their bodies. Now, all the worries that you have during the day are mostly linked to your body. How much the food body is eating, what the body is wearing, is the body living in a good house or not, does the body have money in the bank balance, or sorry, is there money, is there, whatever assets are there. So all of this will be left behind. All of this is stranger to who we really are. But all our attention, all our energy, and all our time is consumed only by these things. So therefore, we need to awaken and we need to redirect our energy to realizing who we really are, because only then we will know that the things that we are after are so petty and they are going to anyway leave us. Always, Yogananda ji said, your body is a treacherous friend. However much good food you give to it, you give it sleep, you take the best care of your body. Even then, it is a treacherous friend, because one day it is going to get old, diseased, and it is going to leave you. Therefore, give the body only as much as is needed. And the rest go higher than the body. What is higher than the body? The mind and the intellect is higher than the body. The soul is higher than the intellect. So focus on your mental developments, focus on your spiritual development, and just give the body what it needs, because it is anyway going to leave us, and that is not our final destiny. This brings us to shloka number 20. न बृहस्येत्र प्रियं प्राप्य नो द्विजेत प्राप्य चाप्रियं स्थिरबुद्धिर्सम्मूढो ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थिता. ब्रह्मविद, ब्रह्म स्थित, स्थिर बुद्धि, माया से मुक्त पुरुष इस प्रकार ना तो सुखद अनुभवों से हर्षित होता है और ना ही अप्रिय अनुभवों से उदास. The knower of spirit, abiding in the Supreme Being, with unswerving discrimination, free from delusion, is thus neither jubilant at pleasant experiences nor downcast by unpleasant experiences. Time to introspect. Are we excited with good news and are we sad with bad news? How much of it is? Again, let's think of the frequency, the intensity, and the coming back to the center. Do we take a long time to come back from a state of excitement? Do we quickly, if maybe happy about certain things, a friend has come, you are happy to meet her or him. And then, but of course, you stay centered and calm in yourself. You're never really jumping out of yourself. That is the state that is desired. Calmness all the time. Be calmly active and actively calm. That is the state we want to touch. And we have to make effort for that. It doesn't come automatically. Control your mind when it jumps up and down as a reaction to the world. And only then you will find that place of even-mindedness. Because why is even-mindedness necessary? Because we want to still the vrittis in the chitta. We want to make the waveforms or the whirlpools that are happening in the chitta, we want to still all of them. Because only when we still that, do we able to see our nature as the Atman, because Atman is absolute stillness. So to be able to realize that absolute stillness as our own reality, first we have to quieten all the movements that are happening around it. And controlling our reactions is one of the basic and important necessity that any yogi or any spiritual aspirant must do sooner or later, rather sooner than later. Okay. Man does not analyze the lessons inherent in the cinema of daily life. He remains identified with those pictures, sometimes rejoicing and sometimes grieving. The yogi who roasts in a fire of wisdom all seeds of new desires becomes free from the thraldom of reincarnation. Nevertheless, so Master is now explaining about what happens when you become, free from further desires. So once you have understood that there is no point having too many desires and attachments in this life, you have restrained yourself, you are controlling your likes and dislikes, you are living in sambhav. So from this point, you automatically do not want to create more desires. And that is the point where the Jivan Mukta comes at, when no more desires are there, that means no more fresh karma will be created. But of course, the machinery that has been set in motion, that means the life that we are living now is because of our prarabdha, that will continue. So the pleasure and the pain will come according to the past karma. But as long as you are trying to transcend the ego and not having any fresh desires, all of this will eventually come to a stop. Just like when you want to switch off the fan and you turn the button off, it takes some time to slow down and then it stops. So similarly for our karma, first we stop creating fresh karma by understanding our reality as a Jivan Mukta. And then whatever comes as a result of past karma, we bear it, we endure it, we forbear, and side by side, we keep offering it back to the Lord. We keep on loving the Lord and His children. We do whatever best is there in our capacity. And automatically, those results will eventually wear out and we will become free. He watches with a calm, indifferent attitude the joyous and the sorrowful scenes of his life. What have they to do with him? So just as Master said that the sage sees his own body as a stranger, then he sees the scenes that are happening in his own life from a third person perspective. Say, okay, this is happening. What is it teaching? Where is it leading? Am I just to react to them, or am I to just keep quiet and watch them happening? I will respond appropriately, do my little part, and take myself to freedom. So for all of us throughout the day, this is also like a tapasya, that we watch our reactions. Are we going too off center, or are we close to our state of active calm and calm active? And unless we do this, unless, we cannot just say that, okay, 1 hour of the day I will meditate and the rest of the day I will do whatever I want. No, 24 hours means at least the waking hours. It becomes our duty, if we want to attain self-realization, if we want to be a Jivan Mukta, if we want to feel free from all suffering, then it becomes our duty that we watch our own thoughts, we watch our own emotional reactions and control them as much as we can with all the techniques that have been given to us. We come to the next shloka, which is shloka number 21. Bhayasparsheshvasaktatma vindatyatmani yutsukham sabram yoga yuktatma sukham shayam shrute. इंद्रिय जगत से अनाकर्षित रहकर योगी आत्मा में निहित नित्य नवीन आनंद का अनुभव करता है। आत्मा और परमात्मा के दिव्य मिलन में लीन होकर वह अविनाशी आनंद को प्राप्त करता है। Unattracted to the sensory world, the yogi experiences the ever new joy inherent in the self. Engaged in divine union of the soul with spirit, he attains bliss indestructible. So a person who is completely engrossed with the senses will say, if I leave being attracted to the senses and the sense world, then I'm going to be a loser. I will lose everything. But the truth is actually completely opposite. It is unless you leave the pleasures, the little pleasures that you are gaining from the senses, you will never be able to taste the bliss of your own soul, which is many-fold, multiple times, Master says 1,000 times a higher, a more refined, a more subtler kind of joy, and a joy which does not turn into pain. So unless we forego the little pleasure, we will not be able to taste the bliss of the soul, and therefore the need for self-control, self-restraint, self-discipline, it appears to be a tough job. Why should I discipline myself? Why should I, go through all this tapasya? It is because I am wanting to raise my consciousness higher. Okay? The yogi learns to control his chitta, overcoming all likes and dislikes to external objects. Okay, for all those who have questions, we will answer the questions at the end of the session. Okay. So now we must remember that eternal happiness is a property of our own soul. It does not lie in objects. As many times as we try to seek pleasure from the interaction of sense objects and the senses, we do experience some kind of pleasure, but the quality of the attribute of this kind of pleasure is that it is limited, it is temporary, and it is mixed with pain. Why mixed with pain? Because when we want a pleasure and let's say we gain some excitement out of it, then we want more excitement out of it. But that does not happen. The marginal utility law comes into place that only till a point you will be able to enjoy a particular thing, and then it will go away. And also the pain is that fear is there. If you're having a good time, you do not want that the good time should end. But that is not how life will go. Life is impermanent. Life is ever changing. All the things that you are attached to, you think they give you happiness, they will leave. All the things that give you pain and you say, I don't want them, they are going to come. So in the sense, life is ever changing. And you cannot always keep wishing from a false moving world to give you permanent, stable happiness. And that is why you need to come back to your own Atman. Because only that Atman is that permanent reality, which is, and the nature of which is bliss itself. Till you are anchored in that, you will be buffeted by the waves of this ocean of existence. And if you're happy, being buffeted, if you want to go on the ride, if you want to play the game, then be ready for the pain that comes after the pleasure. But if you've had enough and you think that, okay, I'm done with this game now, and I want to stabilize myself in a bliss that does not change, in a peace that is ever mine, and at will I can touch it. Then there is no other way but to go towards the spiritual journey, to take that self-effort, to take out that time, and to turn your attention and energy inwards and do the techniques which take us towards self-realization. The source of all happiness is inside and not outside. We forget this truth and are deluded into thinking that happiness is coming through external objects. The wise man knows that he himself is the source of all happiness, and he has no attachment for the pleasure derived through the senses. So again, our goal that slowly over a period of time, we realize that we may think that these objects, these people, these situations, these experiences are giving me happiness. But the truth is, all the happiness is within me. It is in my ability to experience these objects. It is my own ability to, my own power that is, because I am blissful, therefore my own bliss is projected upon or reflected upon these objects. And then when I'm experiencing that, I think, oh, this little pleasure is what I want. So there is a confusion, there is a delusion, it is an illusion that, we are caught into this, where the external object appears to be the reality and appears to be pleasure giving rather than our own ability. And a simple, very, very simple example that I usually like to give is that, suppose you have gone to a party and you have met your friends and you've eaten good food and there's good music and you've really had a good time. Now, this goes into your memory as a good, pleasing experience. And therefore, after some days, you want to repeat it because you've had some pleasure out of it. Now, you repeat it once again, and again, you are pretty much liking it. So the memory of pleasure adds upon to the previous memory. But then after a few days, you think, okay, that thing gave me pleasure. So let me repeat it. But what happens on that particular day? You fall sick, you have high fever. And you think that maybe going to that party will help. But since you have fever, you're not well in body, even though you go to the party, they are the same set of friends, the same ambience, the same food, the same music, but you are not able to enjoy yourself because all the ability to enjoy is within you. All the external objects will remain the same, but your ability will change. And this is how life flows. Now again, you may say, oh, I was sick, that is why I did not do it. Now suppose there is a project that you have in mind and your boss is pressurizing you that you must finish it. And again, you think of going to this party. Will you be able to enjoy as much? No. So the same situations will not give you the same amount of excitement. And although they promise to, this world, the objects they promise to give you pleasure, but they don't. Now, we must become mature enough after having lived, I guess, so many million times on this planet, as they say in the scriptures. We should grow up and find out that this is a false promise. And actually, the ability to be happy is within myself. And once I'm able to know that this ability is within myself, then I throw the begging bowl that I have in my hand, and I'm waiting for the world to give me happiness. Again, false. Where am I lost? What am I doing? I'm going the wrong way. I need to throw the begging bowl. I need to stand still in myself. I need to turn inwards and find that I myself am the source of all happiness that I am experiencing. Now, that is the truth. Now, however, how much we believe it or not, we agree with it or not, it does not matter, because the scripture has already told you the truth. It is up to us to come to this realization. And the sooner we come to its realization, the sooner you will feel so complete in yourself, because your dependency on this world for happiness will go away. So do not wait. All the power lies with you right now. Just go within. And the fact that we are reading the Gita, the fact that the Guru is in our life, means we already have the blessing and the grace of masters and God. Therefore, let us put in our blessings in between and put in our self-effort and turn inwards and find the source of all happiness, which is we ourselves. Okay. This brings us to shloka number 22. ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयोनय एव ते आद्यन्तवन्त कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः। हे कुंती पुत्र अर्जुन, क्योंकि इंद्रिय सुख बाह्य संपर्कों से उत्पन्न होते हैं तथा इनका आदि और अंत है, ये क्षण भंगुर हैं, वे केवल दुख के जनक हैं। कोई भी ज्ञानी पुरुष उनमें आनंद नहीं खोजता। O son of Kunti Arjun, because sense pleasures spring from outward contacts and have a beginning and an end, they are begetters only of misery. No sage seeks happiness from them. So this is an extension of the last shloka, where we are saying all the sense pleasures have a beginning and they are an end. We cannot expect lasting happiness from any sense pleasure. Whether it is eating, whether it is looking at something, whether it is listening to some kind of music, if we overindulge in any of these senses, we are going to be grief-stricken, we are going to suffer. If you overeat, your stomach will go bad, your health will go bad. If you listen to over and over to some music and you don't go into silence, then that music is also not going to be very comforting. All of this, all sense experiences will eventually disgust you at some point. And that disgust is very painful. And Master said that overindulgence of senses in the past is the cause of your current moodiness. The fact that we are so restless and moody is because we have tried to, gain a lot of pleasure through the senses in one way or the other. And having come to this point where we do realize to some extent that there is a limitation to amount of pleasure that the senses can give to us. Therefore, again, we should increase our level of understanding and control our senses, practice self-restraint, and then go beyond. Control the 5 senses, go into the 6th sense of intuition. And that 6th sense of intuition will awaken as you meditate daily. And as your intuition awakens, you will start to understand your nature as, from human normal consciousness going to super consciousness, and a higher state of understanding will dawn upon, and suffering will start to reduce. But unless you have to give up those little petty sense pleasures. If you're keeping attached to or clinging to certain experiences, then you will never realize that the entire ocean is yours. Right now, what we do is we hang on to the straw, which is floating on the surface of the ocean. And we are saying, save us, save us, save us. And then once we even give up the straw, that clinging that we have, once we give that up and we surrender to the Lord and we still, continue to do whatever we can, whatever is there in our power, we find that we are the ocean itself. But for that, we have to stand apart from the sense experiences. We have to become the witness. We have to see the body and the senses and all the machinery working as a stranger. And then we will be able to know that, this is how I'm caught up in this machinery. I only falsely think that this bodily machine is me, it is mine, but it is a delusion. Okay. Let's just see what Master says about this. He says, yogis know the superior quality of divine joy as compared to sense joy. The ordinary man is tempted by the lesser charm of the senses because he has not tasted the higher joy of the soul. Only by weighing material pleasures against meditational bliss can man be inspired to escape sense domination. So unless again you have a standard of comparison, how will you give up the lesser? Therefore, try and taste the bliss of your own being by meditation, and you will know how much more refined and pleasing that is, and you can access it at will. And then you will be easily able to give up the little pleasure of the senses. And once you give up those pleasures, the bondage to the body starts to decrease. And once that starts to happen, you become more free and free in yourself, and you become happier and happier because your dependence on the world and its things for happiness, that hold is slowly loosened. Okay. This brings us to shloka number 23. Shakroti haiva yeso du praksharira vimokshanat kam krododbhav vegam sayukta sasukhi nara. वह सच्चे अर्थों में एक योगी है जो इस पृथ्वी पर और मृत्यु के अंतिम समय तक काम और क्रोध के प्रत्येक आवेग को वश में करने में सक्षम होता है, ऐसा मनुष्य ही सुखी है. He is truly a yogi who on this earth and up to the very time of death is able to master every impulse of desire and wrath. He is a happy man. Do we want to become happy men and women? Yes. So then what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to control every urge of desire and anger. Is this easy? No. But is it worth it? Yes. So Master says even advanced yogis, sometimes even as they are advanced, still some element of lust can come up, some element of wrath can come up, or anger can come up. But if the yogi is persistent till the end, then he will attain freedom. So every day, now we cannot think of when our end will come, but we have this moment with us, we have this day with us. And each day, little by little, we say, today I'm not going to allow myself to be angry. And we know that anger is a result of a thwarted desire or a frustrated desire. So if I am not desiring too many things in a day, automatically the thwarted desires will be less and my anger and frustration will be less. So simultaneously, I will be attentive on my mental processes, my thoughts, and I will not allow too many desires to arise. Why? By reasoning. I know that they are going to trap me. I know they are not going to give me the happiness that I'm looking for. Therefore, there is no need. And suppose if such a desire keeps erupting in you again and again, for example, simple, you have many clothes and still desire to have more clothes come, then reason with your mind, go with your intellectual analysis, and also offer that emotion to God at the same time. So if you're not able to handle or suppress it, offer that emotion to God, but simultaneously use your intellectual reasoning to tell yourself, I already have enough. And this is not going to give me extra happiness. And reasoning thus, so each day, till the end of our life, we must be able to become master of our own, our mind. So we have to come to the point where the craving, the clinging, the desires, and all the associated paraphernalia is under our control. And once that happens, then we are going to be free. But it has to go till the end of life. And the promise that the Guru has given us, he says, if you are sincere till the end of your life, then one of the Gurus will come and take you and through that transition into wherever you need to be. So this is such a big promise. And this promise also tells us that we are not going to die. Only the body is going to be shed. We are going to continue our existence. And if we are sincere, if we are, not only becoming good children, but we are specifically following a particular way of meditation, following Guru, then the Guru will come and help us in our time of transition. But it is important that we be sincere to the last breath, to the final thoughts that we have. And the Gita will tell you later on that the thoughts during your passing are very important, and they determine as to where you are born next. And if so, at the end of the journey, you will be able to think of God only if you have thought of God on a daily basis. Otherwise, that thought will not come to you when you are leaving the body. So the whole life is like a practice session where we are preparing for the final exam of death, and we are contemplating upon the Lord and the Guru every day, so that at the point when we leave our bodies, we are able to contemplate on infinity, on the Guru, on God, so that accordingly we are taken to our higher destination, or we are just freed of all bodily existence. So all the teachings of the Gita are so amazing, and they are so practical. This is what is going to actually help us. And that is why Gita is a manual for life. If we follow the precepts given in this scripture, then we can improve our life, and we can in fact transcend all darkness, all mortality, and always live in freedom. With that thought, we will end today's class, and we will share the blessings that we have received with all souls everywhere. And let us pray together. Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Om. 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 Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, great Gurus, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all true hearts. Om Shanti Shanti.